You are now watching the Movie Juice Podcast.
The juice is loose.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Juice Podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm James.
Movie Juice. Movie Juice. Movie Juice. Juice the movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess I'm the only one that did it this week. Never mind.
Oh, we always do like different noises.
Yeah, I was letting you.
You usually do the whole yeah. You know.
Yeah, I was trying to
Sometimes we switch it
give
up.
you your own little spotlight.
You don't have to give me a spotlight. I don't
I
want
do what I want.
it. Alright. Well, I don't want it. So.
I don't want the mic. I said I don't want it.
Hell yeah.
Alright. This week, we watched The Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you guys recommend this movie?
Probably not nowadays, but like in 2011 I would.
I'd recommend it if you'd never seen it.
If you've never
before.
seen it, I'd say you watch
Yeah,
it.
big time.
If somehow you weren't spoiled on it, I think you'd enjoy
Yeah.
it. But
I mean,
it's got like maybe a once over, like a rewatch. Like you maybe watch it a second time. But like I've seen it more than that now, and it's just kind of it's just old now.
It definitely has like a diminishing return on
Yeah.
it for
Yeah.
sure. I felt like that whenever I was watching it the other day.
I feel like the marketing for it was back in the day was literally just, hey, we got Thor in this movie.
Yeah, because like they actually filmed this before Thor came out.
Yeah.
But then they released it after.
After
I believe.
it was already Thor. Because like it was shelved for like a long time,
Yeah.
for like a couple years.
Yeah, but it was like, I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means. Well, you want to go off on the box office, big dog?
Yeah.
Like that.
Cabin in the Woods is a 2011 science fiction comedy horror film directed by Drew Goddard in his directorial debut, and it was produced by Joss Whedon. It stars Kristen Connolly, Chris Hemsworth, Anne Hutchison, Fran Kranz, Jess Williams, Richard Jenkins, and Bradley Whitford. It came out. It released December 2011 at the Butt Numbathon.
What?
What the fuck is that?
The Butt Numbathon was a film marathon held in Austin, Texas every December from 1999 to 2016.
Holy shit!
I'm kind of
Yeah.
getting it now because you sitting there for so long.
Sitting there,
you
your
look
butt
good.
goes numb.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was hosted
It's
by...
a don't name it first, but it makes sense.
it does make sense. Yeah.
It was hosted by Harry Knowles. Dude, that's his fucking name.
What a name!
Of,
Your parents hated you.
Ain't It Cool News. In celebration of his birthday, the film festival showed 24 hours of vintage films as well as premieres.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, that is
It's
cool.
an interesting idea.
I mean, it'd probably be fun. I don't know if I can
Oh,
sit there for
well.
24 fucking hours though.
Yeah.
Following revelations of sexual assault accusations against Knowles in September 2017, the festival was ceased.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Shit. What a downer ending on that one.
It came out in theaters in the United States April 13th, 2012.
Okay.
The budget was $30 million and box office raked in $69.9 million.
Nice.
Yeah. And Goddard and Whedon, who previously worked together on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, wrote the screenplay in 3 days.
Yep. They hold up in like a hotel for like 3 days, and they're like, let's just make a movie script.
Reception it grossed $42.1 million in the United States and Canada and $24.4 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $66.5 million against the production budget of $30 million. The film opened up in North America, opening 5.5 and went on to gross 14.7 in its opening weekend at 2,811 theaters, finishing third at the box office. It closed in theaters on July 12th, 2012 with $42.0 million in total earnings. Its highest grossing countries after North America were United Kingdom, France, and Russia. The review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes gave the film a rating of 92% based on 294 reviews with an average rating of 7.9 out of 10. The Metacritic, the film achieved on average 72 out of 10 based on 40 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. And the audience polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of C on an A+ to F scale. So.
I think C's very harsh after like
Yeah.
only one watch.
Because like especially on that site, C is not good.
No,
Even a B on that site is like
Yeah.
not like it's like okay.
and like
man, I don't
just
know about
watching
that.
it one time, giving it
Yeah.
a C is
I don't
fucking
know about
crazy.
that,
Yeah.
Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4 stars.
And that, I mean,
That's not bad for
he's
Ebert.
a harsh motherfucker.
Yeah, that's not bad,
Yes,
actually.
Yes, yes,
Surprising.
3 out of 4. It's weird that he only does a 4-star scale though.
That is weird. He was a weird guy, man.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Is he dead?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
dead.
he's
Yeah,
dead.
he did. 2013.
Yeah.
He
Jesus.
dead in 2013, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Rolling Stones gave it a 3.5 out of 4.
Yeah.
Fiendishly funny.
I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah. I just wish I could watch it for the first time again.
Me
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. Like it's never gonna.
It's never
Yeah,
the
it's
the
same.
same. Yeah.
It's never
Yeah,
the same.
never the same.
Now I could see maybe watching it with someone who hasn't seen it before.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be the only time. But like we're basically the only friends we have. So like I don't really think that's ever gonna happen.
But yeah, going back to what you said, the production started in like March 9th of 2009. And they finally got... I'm not going to read the whole thing.
I think it was like
but finally-
2011 they finally got the rights to actually like,
Film
or I
it.
think someone like actually bought it to
Yeah.
distribute
To
it.
distribute
And then
it,
it
yeah.
didn't. It didn't actually come out until 2012.
Because Thor came out, I think, in like 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a lawsuit on this film. On April 13th, 2015, author Peter Gallagher?
Let me see it.
Gallagher?
Where is it?
Yeah, Peter Gallagher?
Yeah, I think Gallagher. Yeah.
Yeah. Filed a copyright infringement lawsuit in California federal court against the makers of the film.
What a cock.
Gallagher claimed that due to the similarities between the film and his 2006 novel, The Little White Trip, A Night in the Pines, Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard had used his work without permission. The lawsuit demanded $10 million in damages. Whedon and Goddard were named as defendants along with the production company Mutant Enemy and distributor Lionsgate. The case was dismissed 5 months later.
Weird.
Did they settle out of court?
I would assume so, but that's all it gives me.
We
Huh.
can settle out of court right now for $20.
I just
Yeah.
don't. I mean, like, I feel like people do that shit all the time where they try
Yeah.
to cash grab stuff.
Yep.
Like, oh, this is kind of similar to something that
Like
I
Lindsay-
thought of once.
Yeah.
Like
you
Lindsay
know?
Lohan with GTA.
Yeah, it's like, go
What-
fuck yourself. Stupid ass. They just want to grab money. Which, like, I mean, I get it. I also want money, but, like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And also, Vanilla Ice said that if he believes that if his song Ice Ice Baby would have just been like a deep cut on the album and didn't get big as like a big hit,
Yeah.
he probably wouldn't have got
They
sued
wouldn't.
for it.
They wouldn't have cared.
They
yeah.
wouldn't have cared, but since it was like a big hit and it was everywhere, they're like, oh, he used our song.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, you guys ready to step up to the juicer?
So let's guac this thing.
Oh, Dylan did it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta take it and you gotta squeeze it and go.
See, I always thought about like a tube of toothpaste, you know? Yeah, like,
You gotta roll it up.
oh.
That's rolling. I like that.
Well, if you squeeze the tube too hard, it's gonna make a fart noise, like a little.
Yeah.
Or whenever you squeeze the ketchup, it's like.
You ate a burrito once that made that exact sound.
I did.
It popped out the side. I went.
I also ate a burger at Wendy's, and it made that, I bit into it. It went, it made that same noise. I was like, ugh.
All right, let's get this party started, boys.
Movie starts.
Hey, that's a
I
good
put Lionsgate, and I put Brothers. I missed that old red logo.
movie.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't do it now. Now it's like an actual gate opening.
And then there's like some more, like they put Mutant Enemy production
Yeah.
and a Drew Goddard film,
Now that we know that that's their company.
And it's- blood with pictures of sacrifice in it. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like
And
one's
then-
like a cute
I don't
sheet
know
it
why.
looks like.
I put hieroglyphics. in
Yeah.
Yeah,
blood.
because it looks Egyptian. It does.
And then it's two dudes talking,
Yeah.
and they're
The dad from Step Brothers, I always forget his name, and Bradley Whitford.
the dude,
I
the dad from Get Out.
Get Out.
Yeah.
Or The West Wing.
dads.
I wrote
If you
their
watch The
names
West
a little later, but they're Sitterson and Hadley.
Hadley. Yeah.
They got after a long time tried to get their names, and like they would say them, but then by the time by the time they would say them, I'm like, I'm not gonna put it that deep into my notes what their names are.
I paused it and just had to go because I got Hadley's name, but I had to pause it to get the other guy's name.
Yeah.
Off of.
There was a couple times in the
IMDb.
beginning that I had to like pause and like rewind to catch stuff that they were talking about.
And then the one character, Jules, I had to go for her name because I didn't think her name was actually just Jules.
Yeah, I only know her as Amy. She's Amy Ackerman, but she was an angel. I think that's probably why he's in this movie. She's in this movie is because Joss Whedon got her from because she works on Angel, and he did that.
Yeah.
But then they're talking about they're getting coffee and they're talking about hormones and women issues at a vending machine.
Yep.
And then the Hadley starts talking about how they're trying to have kids and they've already like proofed their house, some bullshit like that.
With their child locks on the drawers.
On the tile locks on the drawers, yeah. And then he's like bitching about that, and he's like,
Want to come over this weekend?
"Want to come over?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then like while they're talking about that, a lady comes up to them and she's like, "Hey, Stockholm went south.
Yep. And now it's just us in Japan.
Now it's just us in Japan." And they're like, "Well, Japan has a perfect record, and they're number 2, and we're number 2, but we try harder."
Yeah.
And they said that they haven't failed since 1998. Then they talking about a betting pool that has big money, and it was the Kim Department's fault in '98 that they failed. Then they're on a golf cart,
We get a jump scare title card.
and we get a jump scare title card.
It screams at you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was watching like a Watch Mojo video or something, and like that's like a paying homage to a different horror movie. That little jump scare like that. I don't remember the name of it,
Right.
but I do remember watching a video about it.
And then hard cut to like a sunny day.
Yep.
There's like people outside. There's like a dude skateboarding, and then it goes up to a window, and there's a girl in her underwear, back in a bag,
Yep.
and she's
Looking through a little sketchbook.
she looks through a little sketchbook of a
Yeah.
dude.
And
Her friend Jules shows up.
and she had just dyed her hair
Yep, blonde.
blonde.
And she calls the dude. She was looking at Professor Fuckwad because you find out that
Dana fucked the professor.
she was like fucking her professor, and then he
Yeah.
broke up with her in an email.
Yeah.
And then
What a
Chris
douche.
yeah, what a douche for real. And then Chris Hemsworth shows up,
His name's Kurt.
and his name's Kurt.
Kurt with a C.
Yeah, that's how I spelled it too. I was like,
Yeah.
because I had the subtitles on. And I
Yeah.
was like, why is it a C? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then the main girl's name, the one that was in her underwear, is named Dana.
Yeah.
And Jules is telling her how she needs to stop packing books and she needs to pack a bathing suit instead because they're trying to hook her up with this dude named Holden.
Yep.
It's another guy.
Who Kurt throws the football out the window and Holden catches it down on the street
Yep.
Yeah.
and almost gets hit by a car.
Dude, Holden's a bad name.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not great.
Holding my cock.
Yeah,
You know
be
what I'm
holding
saying?
these nuts.
Well, he was holding the football
Yeah, well,
because he caught it.
he could be holding my cock. You
Be
know what I'm
holding-
saying?
holding me in his arms.
And then
And then
Kurt's
Marty-
like, they're talking about the books, and Kurt like suggests her a book. I didn't bother to write any of that shit down.
I thought it was funny too because he's like, she's got the book in her hand. He's like, where did you get these? Who taught you this?
Yeah.
Because he's like the smart. He's like got like a really good GPA. He's really smart. Even though he's a jock too, he's like really smart. And he's like
I think at one point he says he's like or someone says he's a sociology.
Sociology major.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny. She's like, where'd you get these? Like talking about the textbooks. He's like, I learned it from watching you. And like
Yes.
it's just kind of showing they have like a really good relationship.
Yeah, him and Jules, because
He's not
they're
like-
together.
He's not the typical jock, which is a good subversion. It's really funny, especially with Chris Hemsworth later on becoming Thor. Like
And then Marty shows up, but he's a stoner.
he pulls up listening to Asher Roth.
Yeah.
Not the famous song, surprisingly. It's just some other song he did, I guess.
And he's
I listened to
smoking,
it. I was like, that's definitely him, but that's not the song everyone knows.
he's smoking a cup bong,
Yeah.
Which
which is pretty sweet.
fun fact, that's actually a real. Like they actually designed and made that thing.
Oh,
like,
really?
like that's an actual bong. Yeah.
Pretty
Like
fucking cool.
they didn't have to go that hard, but they did.
And then he shows up and he says people in this town drive in a very counterintuitive manner. And I was like, okay.
I feel bad.
And they're like, they're like, you can't just drive around smoking that. And he's like, the cops won't pull me over because they fear me. He's like, it makes
The
sense.
stoner who has nothing to hide fears nothing.
Yeah.
What?
And then they all get in this van
Yeah.
or RV and
Yeah,
they drive
and
away. And there's a Switchfoot song playing as they drive
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it pans to the guy on the roof, and they're being watched.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they left the nest or
The
whatever.
bird has left the nest.
Yeah.
And then everybody's in the RV, and then it pans to Sitterson and Hadley. They start. They're staring up at they're starting up the big computer system, the big screens, and then it pans back to the crew, and they stop at this abandoned gas station.
Well, they're talking in the car for a minute too before that, and
Yeah.
like Marty's rolling all these joints. Which other fun fact, he actually rolled all those. Like he actually took the time to learn how to roll joints for this movie. I was like, I mean, like he's not like method, but I was like, I mean, good for you, like
Yeah.
getting into the craft, I guess.
And he's also talking about like the falling of society
Yeah, I was
during
like,
this.
I put that as foreshadowing. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's like society should fall. And I'm like, no.
He says society's binding, filling in the cracks with concrete, because he's talking about how everything is filed, recorded, and vlogged, which like he has no idea what they're going through.
Yeah.
And yeah, just talking about how society needs to crumble, and plot twist, it does.
Yep.
And but yeah, like what Dylan was saying, they get to the gas station.
Really it fucking barely looks like a gas station. It looks like someone.
It looks like a shack with
Yeah,
gas
I don't,
pumps
yeah.
I
outside
don't
of
know.
it.
Even if this wasn't a movie, I don't know why the fuck you would stop at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also have a dirt bike on the RV.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd mention that.
Foreshadowing. They stop. They're all looking around. They can't find nobody. They're getting ready to leave, and then fucking the guy comes out of nowhere and scares Holden.
Yeah, and he's like, "You came here uninvited. The sign says closed." And then they're like, "Well, do these pumps work? Because we need gas." And he's like, "They work if you know how to work it." And it's like, why are you being a dick?
Yeah, fuck you.
And he's
asshole.
spitting backer this whole time.
Yeah.
And then they start asking about like how to get to Tillerman Road. That's what they say. And he calls it the Old Buckner Place. And he's talking about basically just foreshadowing that a bunch of people come and go from there, and it's
Yeah.
very haunted.
And then also earlier they talked about how Kurt's cousin
Bought a cabin.
bought a cabin.
Yeah.
And then like he's talking about it, and then that's when they talk to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I knew the previous owners, not the original owners, because
Yeah.
they've been dead for a while." He's like, "I've seen a lot of people come and go."
I also wanted to mention, and it's really funny because when he says that about didn't know the original owners, but he's been there since the war, they're like, "Which war?" And he says, "You know damn well which war." And it's like,
Not really.
you know,
There was a
there's
couple.
there's a bunch of wars, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Could have been there since.
probably like Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would
been there
assume.
Since Iraq.
And then Marty's being a smartass, so he's like, you know, the ones with the colors, like the blue or
The blue, the gray.
He's
Maybe
like,
brothers were fighting each other.
And he's like you talking fancy at me or whatever. And he's like, well, you were a dick to my friends, so fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he calls Jules a whore.
Yeah, that's what, and then he's like, oh, you're a dick to my friends. And then Kurt's like, what the fuck did you say?
Yeah.
And then they're like, "All right, well, we're just gonna get out of here. They have enough
Thanks
gas."
for the gas. We got because he's like, oh, it's like, yeah, you got enough to get up there. It's getting back. That'll be the tough part. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, then he throws
Yeah.
he throws some cash at the guy.
I would too. I'm
and
like,
he-
fuck you, dude.
And he spits tobacco on it.
Yeah. I
Like,
was like, buddy, do you not want that?
And then like Marty like talks more shit to him as they leave. He's like, "Oh, they're gonna like come out here and pave soon. You know, it's gonna be crazy. You're gonna have like a whole new." Just making fun of like how this dude's like yeehaw,
Yeah.
basically. But and then they drive, and there's some nice cinematography through the mountains. Looks really nice, and they go through a tunnel in the mountain.
And then this is where they have a terrible CGI bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bird looks like shit.
So that bird comes out of the corner of the screen. You're like, I was like, that looks like shit.
Even for 2011, it looked like shit.
Yeah, but when it hits the force field or it hits something we don't know what's going on. But
Yeah, but
when it hits it, that looks cool. But the
Yeah.
bird itself just looked like shit.
Yeah, the bird's flying and then runs into something and then falls down, and I mean, it looks like a force field, but you're like, what the fuck is going on right
Yeah,
now?
like, this is not adding up.
And
they,
then
they finally arrive.
they arrive at their cabin in the
There.
woods.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the name of the movie.
It's the name of the movie.
They have a very Evil Dead inspired cabin. Like,
Yeah.
this whole big movie is like a one big, pretty much homage to Evil Dead.
And then Jules is like, "It's beautiful," but then she's like, "But if there's one spider, I'm sleeping in the Rambler." And
Understandable.
Marty is immediately suspicious, like, of this place.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, "What the fuck? This is weird.
The vibes don't feel vibing.
Yeah,
The vibes aren't followed." Yeah.
failed the vibe check.
And then Dana walks in first.
Yep, and everybody follows, and they're all like joking about how they're gonna be killing raccoons and shit, stuff like that. He says, "Yeah, we're gonna kill it for us to eat, and then I'm gonna skin it and make a cap." And then Holden goes into his bedroom.
Yeah, it removes that
Dana
creepy
goes
ass.
into hers. Yeah.
He's like observing this creepy ass like sacrificial
Yeah,
painting.
it's like these guys and these wolves tearing apart this lamb. And he's like, nope, and he takes it down, and there's
a
he's,
two-way mirror.
he's like, oh shit, what's that? And then he like sees her in the other room, and he's like, oh, and then like it's kind of like a jump scare.
Yeah.
And like she's like checking her teeth, and he's like, oh, okay, then she can't see me, but I can see her. And like she starts kind of getting undressed, and he's like thinking about it. He's like, should I be a good guy? Should I watch this? Should
Yeah,
I
he says,
not?
"Oh shit, this is happening." Like,
And then right at this last second, he's like, oh no, I can see you. He's like, oh shit. And then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, huh, interesting.
and then as they're looking at it, like everybody comes in there and they're looking at the two-way mirror and they're talking about how weird it is. And Marty says people had to make their own interrogation rooms back then. And then Holden offers to switch with Dana, and they kind of flirt a little bit.
Yeah, he's like for a brief second, I debated telling you.
Yeah.
Like just trying to be like more friendly. She's like, oh, I'm thank you for that. I was like, I almost didn't. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding.
And it kind of awkwardly peters off, and because he talks about like. He says that he might have like internal bleeding because of the internal conflict he was having, and she was like, "Oh, well, you should talk to Jules about that internal bleeding."
Yeah, because she's pre-med.
And then they just kind of stop talking and walk away.
Yeah,
and I was like,
she realized she kind of fumbled the bag there.
yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, then he goes in the other room and he starts taking his shirt off, and she's watching him.
Yeah,
Dude,
like double standards.
He goes in that room and immediately starts getting naked.
Yeah, probably because he knows he's like if I can still use this to my advantage.
Yeah, dude could have just went in there and started jorking it, you know?
Yeah. Well, dude, like he's about to like fucking take his whole ass pants off.
And then she's like, oh shit,
and then she
puts it back
covers
up.
it.
Yeah, dude.
But then she covers the painting up too, because she's like, that's creepy. Still creepy.
And then it shows us that Sitterson and Hadley are watching them.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, we need to start increasing. I think they're talking about Jules, how they have to increase the libido.
Yeah.
And they're like piping in like drugs. Well,
Yeah.
not really drugs, but like pheromones and shit.
And then they talk about how the hair dye that she had dumb shit in it to make her dumb.
Dumb, like a dumb blonde. Like
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to make her. And it's funny because he's talking to I never got her name, but the chemical department lady.
Yeah.
And she
Lynn,
says,
I think.
oh, is it Lynn?
Yeah, I think so.
He says, want me to pipe it in? She says, want me to pipe it in or do it orally? And he says, ask me that again, only slower.
And then the creepy gas station
The
guy.
harbinger from the gas station
His
calls.
name's Mordecai.
Yep. And it's funny because like there's like a dude that's transferring the call, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna transfer this guy to you because he's like freaking me
He's like
out."
really, he's being fucking creepy.
He's fucking intense.
Yeah.
He's like, fine, put him on.
And then he starts talking to him. He goes, "Well, speakerphone."
Well,
It's like one of the best gags. of the
it's so
movie.
funny because he's like being super intense and serious.
He's like, the lambs are coming to the slaughter.
Yeah, the lambs
But
have
who
passed.
talks like that?
The lambs have passed through the gate. They are come to the killing floor. And then Hadley's like, "Yeah, man, it's great. Like, you're doing a great job."
Thanks for the update, I
And then he
guess.
just keeps going. He's like, "Their blind eyes see nothing of the horrors that come. Their ears stopped. They are the gods' fools." and then
like Dylan said, he's like, "Wait, am I on speakerphone? I can hear the, I can hear the
Yeah.
echo." He's like,
Cleanse
"No, you're
them.
not on speakerphone."
cleanse the world of their ignorance and sin. Bathe them in the crimson of. Am I on speakerphone?
He's like, I can hear the.
Because everybody starts giggling.
Yeah,
He's like, that's really rude, man.
and he was like, "All right, I'll put you back."
He's like, "Oh, yeah, I got you on speaker. My bad, shit."
Yeah.
And then he keeps going. And
Yeah.
then-
And then they keep
And they
laughing.
keep giggling. He's like, "Oh, I'm still on speakerphone, aren't I?" He's like, "Oh, I did it again. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry." He's like, "That's so rude, man."
He's so embarrassed. That's probably like one of the funniest parts of that
It
movie.
really is, bro. Because even me, it even got me to laugh out loud.
And then I have Dana and Holden in, and then it says RHEE. I don't know what that means. Is this where they're at the lake?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Because like those two jump in,
Yeah.
and then Marty's smoking. He's not getting in the water, and then the other two are like walk up.
And Jules is like, I'm just going to hang out and sunbathe. And then Kurt is like, wait, what is that in the water? And then he picks her up and throws her in the water.
He's like, "Oh, it's my girlfriend." it's a funny gag.
And then he says, oh, what else is in the water? And then he runs and jumps in.
A gorgeous man.
A gorgeous man.
And she's like, "I'm gonna kill you." He's like, "Oh no, don't kill the gorgeous man. They're endangered."
I do like how Marty doesn't take his shirt off because he was actually more ripped than
The fucking
Chris
Chris
Hemsworth,
Hemsworth
at this time.
That's before Hemsworth had to fucking buck up for Thor.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's why he didn't get in the water.
And then it shows again them at like the headquarter thing that they're at. You don't really know where they are.
They're finalizing the Deadpool basically.
Yeah, and they're betting on something. And you find out that Hadley is betting on a merman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy talking, and he's betting on something that maintenance has already betted on. And it ends up being like what we get, which is the zombie torture family. Yeah, something.
Incest zombie torture family.
Yeah, and there's another guy, Truman. He's trying to be the voice of reason. He was like, "Man, isn't it, since you guys control it, isn't it kind of like rigging the system?"
He's like, "No, we don't control it. We just get them there. They choose."
Yeah, and Sitterson also says that they rig as much as they need to.
Yeah, they say that our job is to get them in the cellar, and then they make the choice.
Right.
Yeah.
But also I thought it was funny too when they're talking about maintenance picking. He's like, "Yeah, if they were creative, they wouldn't be in maintenance."
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny gag.
And then they talk about how like they have to choose to ignore the harbinger, and then they don't if they don't transgress, they don't get punished, but they transgressed and they went on to the cabin anyway. And then it's funny because like the Deadpool set and one of them Hadley or citizens like, let's get this party started, and then it shows Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah, let's get this party
and
started.
he yells it again too,
Yep.
and then they all start getting fucked up doing college kid things. They're like smoking pot and
Yeah.
drinking, and Jules is like hot girl dancing.
There's also a funny moment while they're still in the
Yeah, they're playing Truth or Dare.
while in the research or whatever with all the other guys, and they're like, fucking Bradley Whitford said something funny where he's like talking to this one guy. He's like, more than anything, I just want this moment to end.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
You
funny.
might have
Oh,
talking
yeah.
to Truman.
Yeah.
I had that written down too, but I couldn't remember who said it to who.
I think they're all talking. I think in the Deadpool when they're
I
talking
think he
about.
must say it to the. He says it to the intern guy.
Yeah.
That's what it has to be.
He said, what do you want more than anything? He said, more than anything, I just want this moment to end. I feel that all the time when I'm talking to random people that won't shut the fuck up.
Yep.
And then, but yeah, they're dancing and they're playing Truth or Dare.
Yep.
And it's Jules' turn.
Yeah.
She chooses Dare.
And she
Yeah.
chooses Dare.
And Marty makes her make out with the wolf head.
Oh,
he
this
says
part's
with the
fucking
moose.
funny.
Yeah.
He says make out with the moose, and they're like, bro, that's a wolf.
He's like, they're like, have you seen a moose?
He says, whatever that mysterious beast is. And then she goes up and like flirts with the wolf, and she says, no need to huff and puff, I'll let you come in. And I wrote, hot.
Not this next part though.
And then she like
Yeah, that's weird.
max on that wolf.
She really
Yeah,
does.
Like
she
she getting in that tongue and everything,
Yeah.
and I'm like, bruh.
That's been there for a while.
I don't
And,
know.
like,
Rusty.
I don't know why I know all these fun facts, but like they did that with like it was like a candy coated tongue. So like it actually tasted pretty good. She said.
Oh, okay, good for
I don't know
her.
why I know all these fun facts about this movie. I feel like maybe because I'm getting them all. I remember them all from the kill count. I guess I don't know.
Right.
But I guess like she actually really didn't mind it because you can kind of see a little bit. It's got like
Yeah, because
it's got like pixie dust on it or something. You can kind of tell. It looks like dust, but I mean I guess it's pixie
Yeah.
dust.
after she's done making out with
Pixie
it,
sticks.
I put everyone is aroused, I guess.
Yeah.
They all clap.
Because they were all like, you can tell Kurt's like, oh shit.
Yeah, then Dana's next, and Kurt
Calls her out for
Yeah.
being a fucking pussy.
Yeah.
and he was like, we already know you're gonna say dare, but then we're gonna dare you to do something you don't want to do. And you're like, oh no, I meant truth.
And then she's like, oh yeah, fuck you, I choose dare. And then the fucking cellar door.
The cellar door
Slams
immediately
open.
opens.
Yeah. And then
And then
she
like,
was
oh, what's a cellar door? And I put in my notes, I put cellar door, Donnie Darko.
And then Kurt's like, the wind must have blown it open. And Marty's like, in what world does that make sense? He's like, what kind of logic is this?
Just showing that the dumb air particles, I guess, are getting to
They're
him.
starting to get to him.
Yeah.
And then Dana, that's what her dare ends up being. Go down into the
I dare you to
cellar.
go to the cellar.
Yeah, and she was like, how long do I have to be down here? And Kurt says something on the lines of like, just until the morning or something.
Yeah.
And then she walks down there, and, there's a bunch of creepy bullshit. There's like a weird mask. And then she gets scared by like
Painting of a girl.
a painting of a girl.
She lights a lantern.
Yeah.
And then everyone comes running down.
And then Kurt's like, oh, you called for help. That voids the dare.
Take your top off. He says, take your top off. And then Marty lights up a lamp, and then you can really start seeing all the spooky stuff.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
literally like a bunch of random shit.
And he says-
and Marty's not feeling it. He was like, something doesn't feel right down
Yeah.
here.
He says, I'm not sure it's awesome to be down here. And I was like, yeah.
And like Kurt's fucking with some sphere of some sort.
Yeah, I
Jules
put
has a necklace that she's
Yeah.
about to put on.
Holden has the ball dancer thing, ballerina.
Yeah.
Yeah, he opens up the music box.
Yeah, Marty has an old film reel, and Dana has a book, and I put or diary.
Or
Yeah.
diary. Yeah.
And like it's all like, oh wow, it's shot really well. Where it's like, oh, what's it gonna
Yeah,
do?
because it's like it builds
Yeah.
tension, right? Because
Yeah.
like literally any one of them could have said something
Yeah.
at any moment, and it's funny too. It comes back later because Kurt picks up a conch,
Concha, he's like about to blow into it.
and then he stops and he grabs like that. It's a ripoff of the Lament configuration from Hellraiser.
Well, no, I think he was doing that first.
No,
Yeah, because he almost blows the conch shell when she says, hey.
that's what I'm saying. No. He's looking at the.
Yeah, he's fucking with the ball.
No, I promise you he was fucking with the ball, but he was about to blow into the conch. Like it was one of the last things before Dana says, "Hey guys," he's about to blow into it. Like that's why Bradley Whitford's so mad later because it's like so close.
I also put Marty isn't having it and daring everyone to go upstairs.
Yeah. He tries to get everyone to go upstairs.
And then I put everyone's playing with different things, and I listed all the things everybody was holding.
And then because that's when Dana says, "Hey guys, check this out."
Yeah, and then
And she starts reading it, and then she's like, "Oh, there's some written in Latin too. Should I read it?" And everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." And Marty's like, "Don't read the fucking Latin."
Yeah,
are you stupid?
we also find out that the diary is from someone named Patience Buckner, and her mom was killed. And then it's just like some spooky shit talking about like
Like her arm
killing
got cut off, too,
people,
or
and her
something?
arm got
Yeah.
hacked up and
Yeah.
ate. Like I guess they ate her arm.
Yeah.
And then it's the Latin, and Marty says, "I'm drawing the line in the fucking sand here. Do not read the
Do
Latin."
not read, like literally, do not read the
He
Latin.
says, "Don't read the fucking Latin." I put, "Dumb bitch, read the fucking Latin."
Yeah. And then some zombies start popping up out of the ground, and they got weapons too.
And they're like, "We got a winner!"
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the party, and the Buckners win. Maintenance and Ronald the intern win the Deadpool.
Yeah.
I started calling it the control room.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then there's a lady
Start pushing
standing
buttons,
there
pushing pulling
Yeah.
levers.
talking to Sitterson, and she's like, "Why did I not win? Because I also picked zombies."
It's like, no, there's a difference.
There's a difference between zombies and zombie rednecks.
Redneck zombie torture family.
Yeah, zombie redneck torture family. I wish I would have wrote down all the options they had on the board.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
but
Like,
there's so many.
it's like Merman. I think one of them, I know for sure there's one that says
Wolfman.
Deadites. Because it's a
okay.
reference to Evil Dead.
Evil
I
Dead.
know that one for sure.
It's a bunch of like horror movie.
Yeah. Wraiths, I think, is one of them. What's that other one? It's like Demon Bat or something. Yeah.
Are you looking at it?
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, because there's a bunch. There's like a fuck ton.
There's just so many, and I thought about it like too late. You know, I was like, I think I was already done with the movie, and I was
Oh
like, "Fuck, I
god,
should
yeah,
write
here's the
those
whole
down."
thing.
Fuck yeah.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, you can't. I tried to zoom in and then...
All right. So we have werewolves, alien beasts, mutants, wraiths, zombies, reptilians, clowns, witches, sexy witches,
I always thought that one was funny.
demons, hell lord, angry moles, some kind of tree, the angry tree.
Oh, angry molestation trees, because that's also an Evil Dead reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Giant snake, deadites, Kevin. I don't know who Kevin is.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be like a gag.
Mummy, the bride, the scarecrow folk,
I
snowman,
wonder if the Bride's a 13 Ghost reference.
dragon bat,
Yeah,
vampires,
Dragon Bat.
dismemberment goblins, sugar plum fairy, merman, the reanimated, unicorn, the Huron, Sasquatch, Wendigo, Yeti. It's all kind of together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have dolls, the doctors, zombie redneck torture family, jack-o'-lantern, giant, or twins. So that's all your options.
Because we see the twins later. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder which one is like, because later, whenever all hell breaks loose, there's like a robot.
Yeah.
thing. I wonder which one that's supposed to be.
Same. And also same with the
Same with like the Purge people.
yeah.
You know, like
I think they were the Hewer or whatever.
the Huron.
Yeah.
Huron.
Because I think they.
Maybe they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he's the dismemberment goblin.
Well, you see them. I think you see them later because like they're flying up in the sky like ripping people apart. I think.
Or are those the sugar plum fairies?
Yeah.
You know?
I will
yeah.
say, like, later on when you see it, the giant snake kind of looks like shit.
I think so too, but I think like
It's supposed to.
it's 15 years ago too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And that's like height of bad
But-
CGI.
Another thing, the Wolfman looks incredible compared to the Wolfman we got in 2025.
Yeah, for real, dude.
But we'll
Goddamn.
get there. Truman still isn't excited about what's happening.
This is where Bradley Whitford's like, oh man, he had the conch in his hand. Like, we were so close to a merman.
Yeah, he's bummed because he will never see a merman. And Sitterson said
Or will he?
he should be lucky because they're terrifying.
Yeah, they're hell of a cleanup, he says.
They also talk about it's like whenever the zombies are coming up and Truman's looking and he's like, "Oh, this is something from a nightmare." And the girl, the Kim Lab girl says, "No, this is something that nightmares are made from."
Right.
And she says like everything in our stable is a remnant of the old world, courtesy of the directors. And he's like,
And like
"Monst-
those downstairs. Or
Monsters.
like, you know, she says you know who, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know who we're supposed to think.
Yeah.
The devil, the gods of the old world, I don't know.
monsters, magic,
she means.
and gods." And then he says, "Get used to it." And then Hadley's sad.
Yeah.
Never gonna see a merman. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's funny," because Citizen's like, "Hey man, you know mermans are terrifying, and the cleanup is
The
awful."
night,
Like,
which we see later.
Then it pans back to the cabin.
well, it also shows that video of Kyoto, because Japan's still running too.
Yeah.
And it shows there's like a demon attacking
It's like
little
it's,
girls.
It's like a Ringu situation
Yeah.
type. You know, lady with black hair terrorizing these little kids.
And then back to the cabin,
Yep.
and Jules is hot girl dancing again.
At some point too, there's like whispering that Marty can, like no one else can hear, but for some reason Marty can hear it.
That's a little bit after this.
I think that they do it twice.
Do they do it another time?
Because there's one later where that says go for a walk, but there's one that's like it's like right before. I think it's like during the Latin when she's speaking. I think it's like read it or something.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Because there's that a little bit, and then later on when it happens again.
Because like it's a big gag later.
Yeah.
Like, But Holden and Dana are watching Jules sexy dance, and Holden is now wearing glasses all of a sudden.
Yep.
And everyone's like super into dancing. And Kurt's being weird, man, because he's like, yeah, you'd want a piece of that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Talking to Marty, like talking shit to Marty.
Yeah, 'cause
it's
she's-
like, bro, why would you talk about your girlfriend like that?
She's getting in
Yeah.
Marty's face too. Of like, oh yeah, we had a little fling back in like freshman year.
Is Thor a cuck?
Maybe.
Sounds like
when
he's
he's on the dumb juice. Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of a cuck.
Yeah.
Because I think he kind of wants to see Marty get it on with Jules. Because he starts talking about how they made out at one point.
Yeah, but then he goes on to a whole spiel about how
Yeah, he has a theory.
yeah, and then like that. So he's not really interested in Jules anyway. He's like, I'm on my own little thing, and then
Yeah, Kurt.
that's when they're like, oh, let's go fuck in the woods.
Yeah, let's go fuck in the woods.
Not a
and,
good idea.
Yeah.
and Marty's like, he goes
Marty's
up
like,
to
that's
Dana.
not how he is, bro. He's like, when is he like he's never
That's-
been like the jock type.
Yeah.
That's when he says he's a sociality major.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says he's acting like an alpha male and how Jules is acting weird too.
Alpha male bullshit.
And Dana's like, I blame it on the drinking. And he's like, dude,
Bro,
I've
I've seen him
them
drunk, and he's never
They
been
don't
like
act
this.
like this.
Yeah.
And then he says, puppeteers. And
Yeah.
she says, puppeteers. And he goes, Pop-Tarts?
Did you say Pop-Tarts?
You have Pop-Tarts?
Yeah, he's like he's really good at acting high.
Because he's high as fuck. And then she's like, Marty, you're really high.
He's
and,
like, I'm gonna go read a book with pictures.
and then he says, and then he's like, we are not who we are. And then he goes, I'm going to read a book with pictures. And then Holden starts like speaking the Latin. He's like rereading it because apparently he's really smart. And he learned Latin in the 10th grade and somehow it all comes back. And no, it doesn't. Because I took 6 years of Spanish and I don't remember a fucking lick
Same.
of Spanish.
I
Fuck
took,
you.
I took 2 years of French. And
I didn't
don't
retain
remember
any of
it.
that shit.
Especially from 10th grade, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, dude.
And then Holden says that he's having a pretty nice time. And then it shows Jules and Kurt going into the woods and they're making out. And he gets a little beer on her shirt and he says, oh, a little beer on your shirt? Guess it's going to have to come off. He wants to fuck in the woods.
And then we kind of pan back to the control room.
Yeah,
and
they're all like,
they're pumping the pheromone mists out of the fog.
Well,
Yeah.
they start pumping more because she like,
She doesn't take it off.
yeah, she's like, no.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they start to walk away.
And
And
he's like, pump it up.
pheromone miss. Because all the dudes are sitting there watching. And
Yeah.
the girl's like, your basic human needs disgust me.
Yeah, get out of here.
And then she gets all horny and she turns around and she's like, I want to go inside. And he's like, no, it's romantic out here. And then like a piece of moonlight comes through the trees.
And then
Yeah.
it goes to Holden and one of them like they're pulling a lever to like simulate the moonlight. And they're like, oh, that's a perfect spot. Let's go fuck there.
Yeah, and we start making out, and he's about to get some stanky on his hang down.
Yep.
Well, okay, so I thought this part was fucking funny as fuck too, because it's like me every time I'm watching a movie, because like she gets on top of him, and Hadley goes, "Okay, baby, let's see some boobies." There you go.
And that's when the other lady's like, I thought you, or I think the security guy's like, I thought you guys weren't into that. He's like, buddy, we're not the only ones watching.
Yeah, he says.
Like they need to be entertained too.
He says we got to keep the customer satisfied.
Yeah. So yeah, he does want to see boobs. We all do, but like. You know, it also is like kind of relevant.
Yeah.
And then he starts taking her pants off, and he's like kissing on her, and they're all like sitting there watching intently. And I just wrote, "The boys, let's go!"
And then she gets her fucking hand stabbed.
But she pulls out her boobs, 2 boobs. Score. Yeah, they say score when she pulls out her boobs.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. We have 2 boobs on the count. That's all we get.
That's all we get. Yeah.
All we get.
But we got 2. I kind of forgot there was boobs in this movie.
Same.
Yeah, me too.
And then, yeah, Joel's hand gets stabbed. Because, like, he's, like, kissing on her, and she reaches her hand out, and you know something's about to happen. And then, like, a big knife
It
comes
focuses on her
through.
hand really heavily.
Yeah.
And
And there's a big-ass zombie with a bear trap.
which is a cool fucking horror
I wrote
weapon.
that, too.
Yeah, like
later on, I was like, that is a impractical but cool
impractical
weapon.
use of a bear trap, but it's fucking cool. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, he is actually throwing the bear trap and, like, catches it, but it's fucking cool.
Kurt also tackles the guy that stabbed her in the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stabs that dude, but then he gets hit with the bear trap.
Yep.
And then they grab Jules and start pulling her, and then a bunch of them gang up on Jules and they saw her head off. But you
Yeah.
don't see them saw her head off completely.
They getting ready to, and then it, like, cuts to
It
Kurt.
cuts,
And
yeah.
Kurt's
Yep.
running away.
It cuts to Sitterson and he's praying, and cause they think that they've killed her, and he's like got like this amulet in his hand,
Yep.
and he's messing with it, and then Hadley gets up and he
Did
goes.
you get what he said? Because I liked what he said, too. It was like a little...
I did get so that's what Hadley says.
Oh, okay.
Because Sitterson's saying like a quiet prayer to
Yeah.
himself. Because Hadley gets up and he goes and like pulls a lever.
Yeah.
And it shows gears turning, and it breaks a vial of like blood, and it starts to fill up, and you can't really tell what it is yet, but it's
Yeah.
like an outline in a wall somewhere.
Yeah, it's like almost like a stick person kind of figure of something.
And then it cuts back, to Marty, and he's reading a book called Little Nemo. And he says, and then he's sitting there and he's reading, and then he hears like a voice say, "I'm gonna go for a walk," and he's like, "I swear to God, somebody's fucking talking to me." Like,
and then
he starts yelling at the voices.
yeah, he says, "You think I'm a puppet, huh? Gonna do a little fucking puppet dance? I'm the boss of my own brain, so give it up." And he's like, "I think I'm gonna go for a walk." Like, and then it shows Dana and Holden back there in the living room, and they're kissing.
Yep.
And Holden's like, "Hey, you know, if you don't want to have sex or whatever, like, we don't have to. It's cool." And then Marty comes through and he mentions that Holden has a boner.
Oh yeah, because they mentioned that earlier too.
The
about,
husband bulge.
Yeah. In the diary. Mm-hmm. And then you know, so it comes back later.
It's like a little comeback.
He's got a husband bulge.
And then he goes outside and he looks up and there's no stars in the sky.
Yeah, he finds out weird. He's like, "I thought there'd be stars."
He says, "We are abandoned." And I was like, dude, Marty's fucking great. Like, he's the best character in this fucking movie by far. And then there's like a girl zombie. He starts to go pee.
Yeah.
Well,
and then he like turns around thinking he hears something, but then she's like out of frame, so you don't see her. And he's like, "Okay, I guess it was nothing."
And then Kurt runs into him, and then he
He
closes.
fucking
clotheslines.
He's like, "Dead bitch!"
He clotheslines the dead bitch.
He just screams, "Dead bitch!"
And then they all get inside, and he's like, "Jules is dead." They're like, "No, there's no way," or something. And they go outside to like try to help her, and the big zombie's just standing there, the one with the bear trap.
Yeah, like throws in her head.
Yeah, he looks like the Sinister guy.
Yeah, I was thinking that too with the hair and the face.
Bagul.
Yeah.
Bagul. Yeah. And then they close the door and they shut out the big zombie, but then there's like a bunch more zombies like coming around.
Yeah.
And Dana's like, because I think she sees the girl, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's Patience from the diary because she's missing an arm."
Yeah. So she kind of clocks that, and then
Kurt's like, "Okay, guys,
we gotta stay together
and board up this house."
Right.
And then like they're like, "Oh no, we can't let them do that."
And he's like, they're like, "Oh man, fuck you."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my thing is like, if the guy throws the head at her, why catch it?
I got it.
It's like a shock, I guess. I don't know.
Because she just instantly catches her dead friend's severed head. Like, well, why?
But then that's when Holden, I think, is like, "Well, watch Daddy play," and then he pumps the pheromones in at the right time, and like Kurt walks in and he's like, "No, this isn't right. We should split up.
We can cover more ground that way." And Holden's like,
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
And Marty's like,
"No,
"What
it's
the
fucking not."
I wrote, Marty is perplexed.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
And then I think one of the zombies like busts in or something, or starts trying to bust in, and they all go running.
Kurt's like, "Go to your rooms. Lock the doors."
And they all just go running into their rooms, and then Hadley and Sitterson are like, "Lock them in." So they lock them in their rooms.
Yeah.
And then Marty like hears it lock as soon as he closes it, and he's like, "Bro, what is going on?"
And then his window's open. He goes to close it.
And he knocks a lamp over.
Yeah.
And then he sees like a fucking
wire
camera
or something. He's like, "What the fuck? It's a fucking camera."
Yep. And it like leads up the wall, and he's like, "Dude, what is this?"
What the fuck?
But while he's having his freak out, they're like, "Oh shit, we got to do something about the stoner guy."
Yeah.
And
then they're like, "Oh no, we got the other Buckner to the rescue."
I think it's like Judah, Judah Buckner. Or
She's
something.
like walking up to the window. He's like, "She's coming to the rescue."
Yeah.
So let's just see how that plays out.
And then he's sitting there looking at the camera, and he goes, "Am I on a reality TV show? My parents are gonna think I'm such a burnout."
Because you are.
As he says that, the zombie grabs him and pulls him through the window.
Yeah. But in a few hours for him, it's not going to matter what his parents think.
Yeah, true that. And then they start fighting. Like, he has his bong, and he's like trying to fight back. And then he runs away, and he gets a knife thrown in his back. And I put, "Damn, R.I.P. Marty."
I put Marty dead? Question mark.
I put Miss Marty Rip.
And then he starts getting dragged away. And I said, "Is he actually dead though? I don't know. I don't know."
We'll find out. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter because they pull the lever thinking he's dead because they think they got him.
Yeah, because like he gets dragged back into like the graves that they came out
and then
of.
like you hear and like you see some blood pop up and you're like, "Oh, cool, he's dead." So they pull the lever.
They pull the lever, and the walls start shaking really crazy.
Yeah. Like, "Oh, they must be happy."
And then Dana starts getting attacked by the girl zombie.
I wonder if they were mad because they knew Marty didn't.
I think they were mad. Yeah, that's what I think.
I always just thought about that. I was like, wait.
Because they knew, like the ancient ones knew immediately that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
So they were like, "No, what the fuck? Why are you pulling this lever?"
Oh, I never thought about that. Interesting.
Okay, yeah.
But then Dana is in her room, and Patience breaks in, the girl zombie, and she can't get out. She's freaking out because like, why the fuck is this door locked? I can't get in.
And then Holden breaks the window.
Breaks through the fucking mirror.
Yeah.
Did she ever take the thing down, or does him breaking it just immediately make it fall down.
I guess that, because I don't really know.
Yeah, 'cause
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because she never because she put the painting back up and then covered it, but I don't think we ever see her take it back down.
No, yeah.
And then they go to pick up the bed to try to use it as a barricade, and then while they're doing that, they see a trap door, and they're like, "Oh, this might be a way out." So they open it, they like dangle a light down there. It's empty. They're good, so they jump in there.
Yeah, and then they hear Kurt on the other side. They're like, "Oh, just meet us down here."
Yeah. And then like down there, there's a bunch of like torture
And
tools.
they're like, oh, this is the torture basement.
Yeah, torture tools and chains, and
This is where they
she's
did
like,
it.
"Oh, this is the black room. Like this is where he killed all those people." And then she's like, "This is where he killed them. This is where he kills us." And Holden's like, "No, we're not gonna die. It's gonna be okay."
Dude, and then he gets fucking bear trapped in the back, and he gets
Yeah.
yanked up.
Yanked up, and then she like grabs a crowbar and stabs the big zombie in the fucking face.
And you're like, oh, cool, he's dead.
Yeah.
But then he gets back. He keeps moving.
She also has a hard line. She goes, "You like pain? How's that work for you?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Which is weird because like they show a crowbar, but they also show like a lug nut wrench as well. But that's what I thought she picked up at first. But
Okay.
but whenever she stabs him, it's a crowbar.
It's a crowbar, yeah.
So
But then he's still alive, and then she grabs a knife and starts stabbing him a bunch,
Yeah.
like a bunch. And then he's like, he's stalled, like he's not dead, but he's like done for a second.
well, he's
Yeah.
already dead technically.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? And then he goes back to the guys, and they're like, "Man, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Remember whenever we could just throw a girl in a volcano?" And Sitterson is like, because he's clearly the older one of the two.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm not that old." And then Kurt shows up, and he's like, "We gotta get out of here. Marty's fucking dead." And then they run to the RV. But whenever they go get in the RV, they close it, and there's a handprint on the
Yeah.
RV. And it's like, oh, something in the RV?
Yeah. Ooh, question mark.
Question mark, question mark, question mark? I don't know. And then it shows back to Hadley and Sitterson, and they're watching Japan,
And they failed.
and Japan has failed. The little girls all join up, and they sing a song around the ghost demon, and they turn it into a frog.
It's like now her soul resides in a happy frog. And
Yeah.
fucking Sitterson, the older one.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah, he says, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." And it's funny. That's a very funny part. Japan has lost.
And all the other
Which is crazy
countries-
because didn't they say Japan was number one?
Yeah.
So like it's funny that this year Japan's the one that failed.
And it's also
like
funny.
the one year they
Well-
at least had an out. Japan fails.
Yeah, and also all the other ones had no fatalities either. All the other countries that did.
Yeah,
right?
all the other countries fucked up. But it's funny because he goes, "They fucked us. How hard is it to kill 9-year-olds?" And then it shows like Stockholm lost, Buenos Aires lost, and they had like a giant monster
Yeah.
like laying in rubble. Madrid's lost, and they're like, "Okay, guys, like we're fucked. Like we have to do this."
yeah.
Yeah, and Lynn's worried about the ancients rising.
And then they start talking about how like Marty almost fucked the whole thing up, and apparently they're like lacing his weed, but it
Yeah.
wasn't working.
It's like hey, I thought we laced this fucking weed. Why is nothing working on him?
And
And
then
then because
you-
later we find out why. But
And then it goes back to
Well,
them.
they also realized they forgot to close the tunnel because
Well, I think they're
seeing
driving
them-
first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, they're seeing them driving. Oh fuck, we forgot to close that.
They
Okay,
forgot
look,
to
yeah, like
blow the tunnel.
That tunnel should have been blown hours ago.
Yep.
And then
Sitterson starts running,
he's
and,
like, get the fuck out of the way, make a hole, make a hole.
and they're driving, and they're like, "It must have been a glitch." So he's like, "Okay, I'll try to blow it manually." So he gets down there and starts like fucking with
the
wires,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then he's able to blow the tunnel, and they get out. Like they're able to reverse.
It's
and
pretty
get
cool
out
shot
of the
where
tunnel.
like they're in the tunnel when it blows, and he's like, oh shit, and so he has to like frickin' throw in reverse. And
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And Kurt's like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, what are we gonna do?" He's like, "How are we gonna get across?" Because it's like a giant ravine too. We didn't
Yeah.
mention that part.
Yeah.
Like in between,
He's like,
like, where
the
the
road's
tunnel
literally
is.
the road literally continues right on like right there. Like he's like, I could jump out on the dirt bike if I wanted to, and then they're like,
Why don't you?
rock eyebrows.
And he's like, "No, yeah." Kurt is gonna jump it in his dirt bike. No way, it's a bad idea.
Holden's like, oh, you can make that easy.
And he's like, "Yeah, I've jumped bigger jumps than this, and it's a smooth run." And he says, "Stay in the Rambler. I'll get help. If I wipe out, I'll limp for help.
Like, I will come back with help, I promise.
I'm coming back with help, with cops and choppers and large fucking guns, and those things are gonna fucking pay for Jules." It's like a heroic ass scene, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, this is gonna be awesome. Dana kisses him on the cheek, and she's like, "Don't hold back." And he's like, "I never hold back." And I just put, "No way, this is a good idea." Then he like goes up this little hill,
It's
and
like all
turns back
heroic.
around, and it's like, yeah, like the fucking music's going,
Yeah.
and then he fucking jumps, bro, and the music's like about to hit. like the fucking
Peak.
of the song, and then he hits a fucking force field, bro.
And it just tumbles.
And he tumbles, and he's like hitting it over and over again as he falls. And I took a little note and I put, bro, when he hits that fucking force field with the heroic music and then Dana starts screaming and it shows him falling and hitting the force field over and over again, fuck me, that's hilarious every time.
And Dana then realized that Marty was right.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, the puppeteers!
Yeah, Hadley
And then-
pulls another lever.
And Holden's like, don't go getting crazy on me now.
Yeah, they pull another lever and then down to Holden and Dana, and they're driving again, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go through. There's got to be another road out of here. And she's like, dude, you're missing the point. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna fucking die. And then like, no sooner she gets that out, he gets stabbed through the fucking head
Yep.
Yeah,
by a
dude.
zombie.
I think it was the little girl one that was.
No, it was like
No,
a dude.
It was like a dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was the
it
one
wasn't like the big beefy guy. It was like the skinny.
because there was 4 of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
But
the girl's the one that
but that's who
follows
was
him
in the car
Yeah, there was
with
a zombie
from the handprint or earlier foreshadowing.
and Holden dead as fuck,
Yeah,
and he
they
was the one
crashed into the
driving.
lake.
So they crash into the lake, and I wrote, fuck me, that death was so sudden because it is very sudden. Like you
Yeah.
don't expect that at all. And then Dana's all screaming and shit, and they're in the fucking water, and then she kind of tries to get out, but the zombie tries to grab her, but she's able to get away. And then it shows Hadley and Sitterson. Oh wait, yeah. So she gets up to the pier, and
They're celebrating and having beers in the control room, and Truman doesn't understand because Dana's still alive, and they're like,
Oh, it doesn't
they're
matter.
like, oh yeah, don't you understand? Like she's the virgin. Like, the virgin
as
death
long-
is
well,
well, they're not
optional.
celebrating yet. But yeah, he does go on.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, the virgin's death is optional as long as she's last and she has suffered, and she definitely has.
And then
like-
Hadley like has this moment of reflection during this, and he goes, "It's so strange that I'm actually rooting for this girl. She has so much heart. You think of all that pain and then people walk in off screen, and he goes, Tequila is my lady, my lady.
Like, yeah, you really care for this girl, buddy.
Yeah.
And then and he's like, party time. And he goes, from darkness there is light. And then this is whenever Dana gets to the pier because she was
Yeah.
swimming during that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the bear trap zombie's there, and he fucking pulls her up, and he starts fucking her up, dude. And it's so dark and funny.
Yeah, because she's like battling for her life. They're like fighting and shit.
Yeah.
And then it pulls out, and it's like the screen,
Yeah.
and they just kind of have her on in the background where she's gonna get fucking maimed and murdered.
Yeah, and they're just partying.
And they're partying. They're like, yeah. And
It pans on her face, and she's just laying on the pier. She's about to cry, and that's when that guy just shows up.
And then everyone is giving Hadley and Sitterson their flowers. They're telling them how good they did. And Hadley's like, yeah, but I really wanted a fucking merman.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, and then he goes over to the tunnel people, and he was just like, hey man, he's trying to give him shit. And they're like, dude, you don't understand. There actually was a glitch from upstairs. And he was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
There was a glitch from upstairs.
And then as soon as he says that,
the red phone rings.
the red ominous
Yep.
phone rings.
Everybody shut the fuck up.
And this is such a good shot.
Yeah.
Because, like, Sitterson is the one that was talking to the glitch people.
Yeah.
Or, like, the construction people, whatever. And he looks at the phone, and then it shows Hadley, like, from across the dance floor or whatever
Yeah.
it would be. And he's looking at the phone, and they both look at each other. And he's like, turn the fucking music off. And they do, and they answer the phone. And he's like, no, the virgin's the only one that's alive. I'm not doubting you that something is wrong, but I don't know what's going on here. And then it cuts back, and it shows Dana, and she's still getting fucked up. Like, she
Yeah.
gets thrown across the pier.
And then Marty saves her.
And this is where I took the note. A bear trap is badass, but impractical weapon. And then Marty shows up, and he's still fucking alive. Let's go. And they take out the bear trap zombie, and they run away. And they run back to where he like got dragged to.
Yeah.
And they go down in the grave, and you can tell immediately that, oh shit, something's up here.
And it's a secret tunnel.
He was just like, oh yeah, I had to dismember a monster with a trowel.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, what have you been up to?
What have you been up to? Yeah, that's just funny. And then also, while they're going, Patience is following them. Just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
But like when they get into that little elevator thing, that's when he kind of realized, oh, he was the glitch, like he was fucking with their system.
Yeah.
But he
So
also,
like that's why the tunnel didn't blow.
Yeah, he also asked her if anyone else made it, and she's like, no.
Yeah, no,
No.
they all did.
And then he's like, so I think I found this elevator, and somehow somebody sent these fucking things up here. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why.
She kind of clocks it. She's like, oh, well, they sent it up here. Yeah.
And then he's like, I think, I've been messing with it, and I think I can get it to go down. Like, I found these, he found like a fucking, Fuse
access
box.
panel.
Yeah, an
Yeah,
access
yeah.
panel. That sounds better.
And that's when we find out. Oh, he must have been the glitch.
And then she's like, "Are you really gonna go down there?" And he says, "Where else are we gonna go?"
Yeah, we're not going back up there with the zombies. You saw it yourself. There's no way out.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they all jump in the elevator and like the dismembered zombie, like some of its parts fall in with them.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Fucking zombie arm!"
Which good for later too.
And then they go down and they stop and they start moving around a little bit and it's really suspenseful because it's dark all around them.
Yeah, and then a wolf man.
And then there's a fucking werewolf.
Yep.
And that's what a real werewolf looks like. Wolfman.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah,
bitch.
look it up, bitch. Fuck you.
Not that fucking orangutan y'all gave us
Orangutan
earlier.
looking ass.
And then it does another turn, and then it's like a ghost.
A wraith.
A ghost.
I think
That's
the
probably
wraith.
the wraith.
Yeah.
And then that's when like she's like, oh shit, we chose.
Yeah.
Like
Well, there's also the scary teeth ballerina girl, and then there's the pinhead ripoff.
I have a note about her. I
Yeah.
put lime. I was like, why does the
Cinnamon.
ballerina look like the lima bean from Jimmy Neutron?
that's what I think the Cinnabites.
Yeah, Cinnabites. But he's like the Hell Lord or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh my God, they made us choose how we die."
Yeah. Marty's like, what do you mean? It's like we chose. What all that shit in the basement, we chose.
And that whole time she's just staring at that motherfucker, and he does not blink.
Yeah.
And he smiles. He kind of looks like Christopher Lloyd for some reason.
Yeah, because
But
I
it's not
put
Christopher Lloyd.
another mysterious monster holding a ball thing from earlier, and I put
Yeah.
Sawhead is just staring
That's
menacingly at.
That's when she
Yeah.
realizes
Yeah.
they chose because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, she's got the same ball that
Yeah.
Kurt was fucking with. So
because
we
he had like
chose.
saw blades in his face.
Yeah.
And then
She like starts beating on the glass. She's like, fuck you. Ah.
and then it pans out and it shows a bunch of different monsters that they could have been attacked by.
Yeah.
And I wrote like a couple that I could see, like spiders, snakes, creepy twins, clowns,
Yep. Yeah.
bats.
The
They
creepy
look
twins like the
bugs.
last one I saw. That's where you see the robot too. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is that?
It's like a weird little robot thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an homage to the horror movie in SpongeBob where Tom Kenny gets chased by.
Yeah. Ah!
And then Citizen and Hadley are like fucking losing their shit.
Yeah, and that's when the girl comes up. It's like, oh, that the fucking what? I don't know where he got that shit, but the weed is not the weed. It's not the laced weed. He's like, oh, why the fuck is this guy inoculated to all our shit?
Yeah.
And she's like, whatever weed he's smoking is not the shit we gave him. Like,
It's
so
like
he got it-
immunized him. And they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just kill them both, but just the fool first. And then they,
As long as he dies first and the virgin lives, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
Like
The
they said
entire
earlier.
time I was thinking, I was like, what if she's not the virgin? What if it's him?
oh shit,
That would have
son.
been a fun plot twist.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, because later on they mentioned, oh yeah, the virgin. She's like, I'm not a virgin. She's like, yeah, we work with what we're dealt. But that would have been a good twist. I think that would have been funny.
Yeah, like it'd be funny if he was.
Yeah, should have slept with Jules when you had the chance. that
then
would
you-
have been a good plot twist. Fuck.
But then you find out that they found out where they are, and they say like whatever hatch they're in.
Yeah, because they open up the door and then the security guy's there.
Yeah, and he's got a gun on him, and he's trying to pull Dana out,
Yeah,
like, and leave Marty there because I guess he's gonna kill Marty.
yeah.
But then like while he's doing that, the zombie arm
for the win.
attacks his leg and scares him, and he starts shooting at it. And then like they're able to like knock him down and knock him back, and they get his gun. And while they're leaving, Marty goes, "Good work, zombie arm."
And then a woman over the intercom tells them that they shouldn't be there and everything didn't go according to plan.
Yep. What's happening to them is part of something bigger and older anyone may know. An army of nightmare creatures is nothing compared to what lies below.
Yep.
Their job is to placate the ancient ones. Their job, like the people's job that they're at now, is to not placate, placiate maybe
Yeah.
the ancient ones. And then like Marty and Dana's job is to die. And then they said, "Forgive us and please let this happen."
Yeah,
And then they start running.
more guards start showing up and they start blasting.
They start blasting.
And then Dana mashes a red button and it opens all the elevator doors.
Yeah, because they run into like a security room.
Yep.
And before she hits it, she goes, "Let's get this party started."
Yeah.
She says
Call
it
back.
again. And then like all the SWAT, they're like in like SWAT gear.
Yeah.
And they're like standing around. They're like, "Oh shit!"
Oh shit! Oh fuck!
And it's like the elevator. It's funny shock. It's like they're like, oh fuck, and then like all the elevators door like it's like ding, and, like all the elevators together and they open up with the fucking
Yeah.
bloodbath.
And then I think I saw what looked like a monkey, a tree, a snake, some kind of bug thing, and then a big
Yeah.
bat.
Yeah. And
then
then
also
where I thought the dismemberment goblins were, where he's like fucking ripping them apart in the midair.
in the air.
It's
Yeah.
funny. He's like, hee hee hee.
And then there's a ghost
Yeah.
and a witch.
Yeah, because like the snake just
Sexy
looked
witch?
like the snake just looked like shit.
Yeah, I think it
to
was
me.
a sexy witch.
Oh hell. Yeah.
Like the snake looked like ass, but like because this movie came out in 2011, but I know like one of the first couple Harry Potter movies there was a snake in it. It looked way better than this one.
Yeah, for real.
The budget was probably a lot bigger.
And that was like
though.
2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a ghost chaos. It's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, dudes are getting pulled in half. They're all
Yeah,
dead.
dude. The sirens are going off.
And then it shows, like, more chaos in the hallway. There's the giant snake. There's zombies. And then it shows more SWAT guys showing up. And the room is full of blood. Like, it's just dismembered fucking pieces of bodies.
At what point do you just quit your job?
And then one
go
fucking
home?
falls from the ceiling. It's like,
I don't know, man. I'd probably quit when I found out we were sacrificing people. But maybe it's
it
like
depends how good the pay is. I
once
don't
you
know.
get in, you know, you probably can't get out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but if
true.
the pay's good, like, I don't know, man.
But then, like, the more bad guys come out of the elevators, and then it's just like a cut of like all these different fucking things. It's like the Hellraiser dude's there. There's a bug. There's like purge people coming out.
Yeah.
There's a ghost going crazy through the hallway. And then it shows like a dude getting thrown off a ledge, and then the giant snake catches him.
Yeah. There's also a unicorn.
Yeah. Well, there's a dude being tortured. There's a dude being chased by the robot thing. There's dudes
Maybe
being
it is a reference to SpongeBob.
there's dudes being operated on because there's one that said the doctors.
Yeah, they're getting ready to cut it.
And then there's like a mentally ill looking dude. Like he kind of looks like I guess maybe the freak from 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? The one with the cage on his head?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded
Yeah.
me of.
And there's also like the killer clown.
And then it just shows like a lady, and it's like showing different security camera feeds. And the lady like blows her head off, like she just kills herself.
Yeah, I think that was the lady from Chemistry, the one from earlier, because I think it was the same one.
Maybe I thought that she was in the room towards the end, but
I don't know.
maybe I'm
she was a
tripping.
blonde lady. She looked the same. I don't know. Could not be.
And then,
it doesn't matter.
Because Truman just starts calling for a code black.
Yeah, because like they're the only ones left, and they lock the doors.
Yeah, and it's just more bullshit. Like people setting people on fire, zombies ripping people apart, big scary monster. There's a fire. There's a dude being suffocated with a bag. It's just crazy, just a bunch of crazy shit. And then Truman is requesting the reinforcements. Everything's falling apart.
Yep.
And
And
then-
the power goes off.
I also want to mention in the background is funny because it shows that the intern is asking for help.
Yeah.
Like he's hidden away in a room somewhere.
I'm,
like, holding a sign.
I'm Ronald the intern. Please
Yeah.
help me.
And then it shows the clown on screen. Everything's falling apart.
Because the clown's like it's like one of the feeds too, where like he's like walking up towards this one chick. He's like,
Yeah. Because
Like, stabs her.
he eats like 5 bullets or something crazy.
Yeah.
And then it shows that like they're barricaded in. Truman's been calling for help.
Yep.
And then something starts breaking into that room.
Yep.
Yeah, back crash.
And then it shows the vampire bat
Yeah.
come in
Yeah.
on Marty and Dana.
Yep.
So they come-
escape and start running.
And then there's a green goo head guy. And then there's also a vampire.
Yep.
And then there's a creepy kid that's like getting ready to kill some dude who's
Yeah.
like singing. And then there's a big explosion. And then there's zombies. And then like the bat comes out again like after her at one point and makes a giant hole in the wall. So that's what they escaped through. And then it shows like the werewolf killing somebody. And then it shows the clown taking all the bullets. And then it shows the fucking unicorn
Yeah.
chasing somebody. And it's just like, bro, what the fuck is going on here? And then it shows that the patient zombie, Patience whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
Buckner, she's like taking the elevator down there.
Yeah, like she's still walking and basically following him.
And then it shows
what they do.
what's been breaking into the room is it's a bunch of scarecrows. And they kill Truman. And Hadley has a fucking machine gun for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, he just out of nowhere.
Like, he just gets his guts ripped out.
Yep. And then Truman, while he's getting fucking disemboweled, he pulls a grenade pin.
Yeah.
And it's a big explosion. Hadley gets blown away. And while he's laying there, something's fucking crawling towards him. And of course, it's a goddamn merman.
Yeah.
Like, and he says, "Oh, come on."
Like, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't want to be the one that died from a mermaid.
Yeah, well, be careful what you wish for.
And then it
Yeah.
it has like a blowhole and like it spurts blood out of the blowhole.
And that's what he meant by it's a huge mess.
Yeah.
and like Sitterson,
He's like sad. He's like, no.
well, like while all that's going on, Sitterson and Lynn are trying to crack the emergency code,
Yeah.
and then Sitterson gets into the vault, and Lynn gets taken by I guess a kraken. It was like a little squid thing.
Yeah.
comes from
Yeah,
the
I wrote it-
That was. I remember that was also on the board. But Kraken was also on
Yeah.
the board. I remember that.
Giant tentacle monster takes girl is what I wrote.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Sitterson's like running down through like a tunnel,
Yeah.
and Dana's there, and she stabs him,
He stabs him.
and he goes, "It's you," and he's like, "Please kill him."
Yeah.
Like, and talking about Marty.
Yeah, he dies pretty quickly for a guy that gets stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah. And then Marty's like, "Hey, here, I'll give you the..." Like, it's just Dana and Marty now. And he gives her the gun, and Sitterson dies. And then they run off, and they find themselves in a room that has all the outlines that were being filled in with the blood.
Yep. And they're like, what the fuck is this? And there's a symbol on the floor as well.
And it was the one on that amulet that Sitterson had.
Was praying to or whatever, yeah.
And then Dana's like, "Oh, God, these are literally us."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. This is a ritual, and then Marty says it's a ritual sacrifice.
And then she says they don't just want to see us killed; they want to see us punished.
Yeah.
And then Sigourney Weaver arrives.
Yep.
And she's the director.
She's the director, and she's like, "Yes, you're punished for being young." And then she's talking about how it changes in all the cultures, and she's like, "You have to have at least 5." She says the whore, the athlete, the scholar, which
And the fool.
The whore's Jules, the
Yeah.
athlete's Kurt, the scholar was Holden, the fool is Marty,
And the virgin is
and then she
Dana.
said,
And Dana's like, virgin? She's like, yeah, we work with what we're dealt. You know, it doesn't have to be a virgin,
Yeah,
technically.
and then like she tells them that the sun's coming up, about to come up in like the next 8 minutes, but if the ritual isn't completed, the world will end.
"Yeah,
Yep.
the ancient ones are the gods who used to rule the world, and they will come fuck shit up."
Which also, this is my favorite fun fact, is that originally that was supposed to be Bruce Campbell.
Really,
They wanted to get Bruce Campbell.
that would have been perfect.
yeah, but like
yeah.
I think they weren't able to get him or something. So
Sigourney's good
She's
too,
she's a
though.
good second choice for sure. But yeah, it definitely would have been funnier, I think, with Bruce Campbell.
And then she's like, "You have to die or the world will end." And she's like, "It'll be the agonizing death of every human soul on this planet. Die with them or die for them."
Yeah.
And Marty says, "Gosh, they're both so enticing."
Yeah,
but while he's saying that, Dana's like right behind him, and she pulls the gun on him.
Yeah.
Like she's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker."
Yeah.
Which honestly, like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
then Marty sees the Wolfman behind her and doesn't say a fucking word. I wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have either.
Because the werewolf shows up and he bites Dana, and she drops the gun, and then Marty and the director start fighting for the gun.
Yeah.
And Marty gets the gun, and he shoots the werewolf, and the werewolf runs away. But then the director starts kicking Marty's ass.
And then the zombie girl axes her head, and
Yep.
she gets tossed down to
'Cause,
the
like,
ancient ones.
They're like wrestling, and then like she's able to get Sigourney Weaver on top, and then she gets
Yeah, because like Marty's on top at first,
Yeah.
and I think Dana calls out to him. So then he gets like Sigourney back on top,
Yeah.
like he lets her take control, so that she gets act in the head, and then he kicks them both down like this giant like ravine hole that's like
Yeah.
around the room.
And then, you know, Marty and Dana sit beside each other, and Dana says, I don't think that Kurt even had a cousin.
And then Marty's like, "Huh?
And they both apologize to each
How
other.
are you?" And then they apologize.
Sorry, almost.
And they smoke while the world ends.
Marty gets it, lights up.
I put in my notes. Let's light up this joint and wait for all this to blow over.
Well, they hold each other as the place starts to crumble, and then a giant hand pops out of the cabin, and then it smashes the ground. Title card again.
Dude, I swear to God, the fucking copy of this movie I watched did not show the giant hand.
I watched it on the same platform you did, and it happened in mine, so I don't know what's going on.
I swear to God, it did.
I watched it on the same thing you did.
Because I was like, dude, because I literally sat through the whole fucking credits waiting for it, and it never happened. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I don't know. Maybe I just missed it. Because I know it's a quick scene, but I was watching. But alright, that's the movie.
Credits roll.
Credits roll. Alright, that's another movie juice.
It is.
Yep. So what are you guys going to rate this movie?
Today, rewatching the film, it's a 7. Like, it might have been a little higher the first time I watched it. It might have been even a little higher than what I have it now. But right now, it's like it's still fun to watch. It's got moments, but I just felt myself bored a lot of the time watching it now. This is like a good 7, for me.
I'm going to give it an 8. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd, so I'll give it an 8. Because, I really like this movie still. I just don't like it as much as I used to.
Well, my initial, whenever I got done watching, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It's got some good laughs and some fun kills, but I think the plot starts to crumble at the end. But I do think that I don't think it's as good as everyone makes it out to be, especially nowadays. I'm probably just going to stick with that 7. I thought about going, I just think 6.5 is too harsh.
I do too.
I almost did the same thing too, but I'm
Yeah,
like,
but,
it's a solid 7.
Yeah, like if you haven't seen it, it's a good one-time watch. I think.
Yeah.
'Cause rewatching it, I had to force myself to even watch it. I'm not gonna lie. to you.
Yeah.
Like I was at work, and I was like, man, I really don't want to go home and watch that movie.
Yeah, like I was playing a game,
Yeah.
and
I was
like
damn, I don't want.
I was waiting for it to get dark to watch it anyway, so
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but then like it was getting to like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, fuck, I have to watch this movie. So I finally put it on, and I'm like, because you said you were almost done with it, and I had like just started like 10 minutes after you said you're almost done with it.
Yeah.
It's an okay movie now. It's just,
Yeah.
I just
It's
yeah.
not. It's
if you
not
haven't
bad.
seen it, give it a watch. It's not
I
bad.
just wish I
but
could go back to the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I probably won't watch this movie again for a very long time.
There's just some of those movies that like after you've seen it once or twice, the rewatch value is you're never gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones where it's like,
If I see it again, I see it again. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
yeah, well, that's movie juice. I think. I think we did it, boys.
Juice. Anybody got anything else to add?
We'll cut off the juicer, unplug it,
Yeah.
put it in the sink for now till we have to juice again.
You can follow us on Facebook at Movie Juice, Instagram and Twitter at Movie Juice Pod. Still got that coming soon website, www.moviejuicepod.com. If you have any suggestions for a logo, email them in. If we decide to use it, we'll send you some cash digitally. If you have any thoughts on movies we've already reviewed or recommendations for other movies, you can email us at moviejuicepod@gmail.com, or if you want to throw them in the comments as well. And you can also give us ratings on Apple and Spotify. I think you can do ratings on now. Just give us ratings, please. We need them. Boost us up. And all links can be found on our link tree. We're on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Give us a rating on there too. And also, if you want to, read a review. And if it's funny enough, we'll read it on the pod. Follow us individually on Instagram and Twitter. Our handles are in the description below. Hey, Editor Jeff here. We will not be back next week. The entire Movie Juice crew have decided to take a break from the podcast to focus on different and personal projects. We will continue in the future, and any updates on our return will be posted on our social media pages, which Dylan already read, and it can also be found on the description below. We thank every single one of you for subscribing and following along as we have juiced movies for you guys. Your support has meant the world to every single one of us. This is not a goodbye, but see you later. And for the first and currently last time, I've been Jeff. As always, I've been Dylan.
I've been Kyle.
And I've been James. And for one last time, this has been The Juice.